I'm back at it again. And now that I've seen Deadpool and Wolverine, we're going to get this tier list going. All the X-Men movies, and I'll throw in the Fantastic Four and Daredevil movies at the end. Alright, let's get started with X-Men 1 from 2000. This is a pretty solid origin movie, all things considered. Gets everybody, gets all introduced to the mutant world, the politics that go on to there. I will say some of the support characters like Cyclops aren't utilized as well as they could be, and I don't think the action and pacing holds up as well, but this is still a monumental movie to superhero movies in general, so I'm going to put this one into A tier, just for respect. Now, the sequel, X2, is one of the best comic book movies of all time, a landmark sequel. There's just the Nightcrawler scene alone puts it into S tier, but all the action that goes on, everything's improved from the first one. The story, the pacing, the action, the characters. Everyone gets their part to play in this. William Stryker's amazing villain, and seeing Magneto and Professor X team up is great too. This is definitely going into S tier. Now, Last Stand really shit the bed. Not gonna lie to you, shit the bed with the trilogy. You had something go with the first two, but this completely ruins everything. Because you have the Cure and you have the Dark Phoenix storyline, and it does not gel well at all. And a lot of the mutants either just die off screen, like Cyclops, or they just lose their powers inexplicably, or just barely in the movie at all, like Rogue. And just very unsatisfying wet fart of a movie. Not gonna lie. I'm gonna go E tier. Not quite F tier, but I can certainly go E tier. X-Men Origins Wolverine. What can be said about this? Sabretooth is cool, but they assassinated Deadpool's character. Thank God for Ryan Reynolds later. We'll get into that. But just very unsatisfying movies. Similar problems with Last Stand. They try to do like 6 different storylines with this. Wolverine and Deadpool teaming up, and then Wolverine loses his girlfriend, and it's not good. It's not good. E tier. Now, First Class, really solid return to form. Like everything with Professor X and Magneto is amazing in this movie. Kind of similar problem with the first one though. I feel like the side character is kind of eh. I mean, I like Mystique, but the rest of them don't really get much screen time in there. Beast was cool as well. Really great movie. Loved Kevin Bacon in there, and Michael Fassbender was a great Magneto. Honestly, just as good as Ian McKellen, if not better. And that last scene at the end with the quarter, fantastic. A tier. Now, the Wolverine's an interesting one because it's definitely above X-Men Origins Wolverine, but definitely below Logan. We'll get to Logan later. Because it's cool Wolverine was in Japan and was like fucking shit up over there, but they could have done better. They could have used an R rating for that, but they needed a few more years for them to get used to that type of stuff. And the final act is kind of mid, but those first 2 acts, really good with Wolverine dealing with his PTSD from Last Stand. This is a great movie. This is a solid movie. Underrated. I go B tier. Now, Days of Future Past. Days of Future Past. They introduced this wonderfully at the end of the Wolverine with Magneto and Charles coming up to Wolverine. And then the whole time travel storyline just works so eloquently here. Definitely the best time travel storyline in any comic book movie for sure. That or Endgame. But this one is brilliant. Everyone gets their part to play in there. Quicksilver scenes are amazing. Magneto, Wolverine, Professor X, Mystique. Hell, even they bring back Iceman. That was fire. But no, this movie is fucking fantastic. Just with the past and the future, both like in there. It isn't like Last Stand where it feels forced. It just works. This is one of the best comic book movies of all time. Easy S tier. Another banner. Deadpool 1. This one's really special to me. Just the nostalgia I have of this one, seeing this as a 13-year-old was just really special to me. Just how crass and rude and R-rated it was. It still holds up. You can tell that they didn't have much of a budget with this one, but they really used it well with like Deadpool leaving his guns in the taxi because they couldn't afford to have a fucking gunfight at the end. But wow. This established Ryan Reynolds as one of the best comic book castings of all time. Not much left to say. I'm going to do A tier for this one. I'm going to go above First Class. Great movie. Apocalypse, really mid. It's not bad, but it's better than Last Stand, but it's not that good. Apocalypse is kind of there. All the characters kind of there, really. I mean, Magneto just carries the movie. He's the only reason it's not an E tier. It's just really mid. I have nothing to say about it. What I do have something to say about, you already know what it is. Logan. Logan is the greatest comic movie of all time in my eyes. Just such a simple, serious story told so well with the characters they have there, just focusing on Logan and Charles' last few days with Laura. Just the score, the action, the R-rated action, just the claws cutting that one guy's head off towards the end there. Just the whole last fight scene and then Logan's death was still gives me chills to this day, man. This is one of the greatest movies of all time, let alone just X-Men, comic book movies, superhero shit. This is one of the greatest things ever made. S tier, no question. Now, Deadpool 2 is interesting because this one and the first one are kind of on the same playing field, but I gotta love Domino and Cable in there, and then X-Force all just dying right then and there. But I do think the first one's a little better. It might be a bit nostalgia, but this one's still really good. I'm gonna put this one into A tier as well. Now, Dark Phoenix. That shit was ass. They fucked up the Phoenix shit more than Last Stand did, and it was the sole focus. Like, after they get back from space, this movie is just shit. The worst writing in the entire series. Mystique's death had no impact at all because she was just bitching for the entirety that she was even in that bitch. You don't see Magneto for like the first hour of the movie, and he's been the best character in all these movies, man, since First Class, really. Just really shitty way to end out the ensemble X-Men movies. It's fucking terrible. There's nothing left to say, man. It's just fucking terrible. Everyone is fucking... all the characters suck in there. Alright. New Mutants. Honestly, only thing I remember about this movie is Anya Taylor-Joy is basically Arthur Boyle from Fire Force in this movie. I guess that's enough to put it above Last Stand and the others, so I'll do D tier, but Alright. Deadpool and Wolverine. This movie is fucking incredible. It's fucking incredible. I will not lie. This is definitely the best of the Deadpool trilogy. Just the way that this variant Wolverine and Deadpool intertwine with each other. Pause. It's just so incredible to see. Well, let me just say, spoiler alert, in case you still haven't seen it yet. Just both their fights in the void and then in the minivan, which is funny. You see them just stab each other for 12 hours straight all night. And all the cameos and just the whole plot of Wolverine overcoming the fate of his universe and Deadpool trying to save his, and then them stopping Cassandra Nova and everything with TVA. This is a perfect send-off to the Fox universe of superhero movies. And those cameos, Human Torch. My crowd went crazy for Human Torch, Blade, Elektra, Gambit. Chain Table was great in that too. Yeah, this is incredible. It might be hype speaking a little bit, but this is definitely an S tier movie. I'm put above X2 for now, but below Days of Future Past. Now let's do a speed round these last few. Candidate 4, 1, and 2, they can go in C tier. They're fine. They're alright. They're fair for what they were for the time before the MCU and like the Dark Knight changed superhero movies. This is fine. Fan 4 Stick is fucking awful though. That shit is fucking trash. That shit is ass. Even worse than Dark Phoenix. That shit was just fucking nothing. An hour and 40 minutes of nothing. Daredevil was alright too. I expected for what I was trying to do in 2003, doing a darker superhero story when stuff like that wasn't really happening. There was a strange gap between Batman Returns and Begins, where there was like barely anything going on with like the dark shit, except for Blade, but that was kind of niche since R-rated superhero movies didn't exist. But this was fine. This was fine for what I was going for. I like Ben Affleck as Daredevil, but it was cool. Elektra, kind of just throwaway. Nah. Feeling E tier on this one. Pretty forgettable, but it's still better than Dark Phoenix and Fan Four Stick. I'll put it. Probably put below Origins Wolverine because at least the action that was a bit better. But yeah, that's the X-Men and Fox comic book movies ranked from best to worst. Thank you, nerds, for watching. I'll see y'all later.